Hi everybody, it's Onyx here, and today I'm bringing you part 3 of What If Deku Had Full Counter. First off, I would like to say that all the art of this video goes to Alex 2400, which his link will be down in the description as always. One more thing, that every single time before I post the video, I post 2 minutes of the recording in my Discord server, and if you guys would like to go see that early, go into my description of my video and my Discord link will be there as always. Without further ado, let's begin. We're going to do a little recap here, as we're going to start off with Izuku having his first day of middle school with Bakugou trying to attack him, and all of the students separating themselves from him from then on. This should leave us where we last left off, as Izuku's been at middle school for almost 2 years now, him being in his last year of middle school. As we cut to Izuku's point of view, "Oi, Deku! Come here now!" Izuku just plain up ignored him because he knew Bakugou was being such an idiot again. The moment Izuku ignored Bakugou, however, Bakugou decided to go to Izuku and tried to explode his uniform, as Izuku just stood there and took it for some weird reason. The moment Bakugou threw his explosions, however, Izuku still had his train of thought saying that he won't make any friends in this school. He's had this train of thought since his first day since the Bakugou incident. Ever since that day, everyone saw Izuku as a villain, and when they tried to piss Izuku off, a black mark would appear on his head. And since then, Izuku started to take up meditation, to at least to try and control his anger. This is why he's not getting as pissed. And plus, every single time he activates that weird black demon mark on his head, at least that's what he's called it, he gets visions of his father and that weird white-haired man telling him he's useless, he's nothing. Give in, just give in. As we come back to Izuku's point of view with the teacher walking in, as the teacher would have said, "Okay students, today we'll be doing some career altitude tests." As the teacher just threw the papers up in the air. "I'm just kidding, I know you all want to be heroes." As everyone started shouting, showing off their quirks in happiness. As everything went like the original, with Bakugou jumping on his desk, shouting at everyone, telling them that he's going to be number 1 and he's going to be the only one that's going to UA with the test scores of 100%. "Oh, shut up, Bakugou," Izuku said, as Bakugou just turned around saying, "What do you say, you damn nerd? You think you're better than me?" "I wouldn't say that per se, but you're very, very egotistical." "Why, I oughta," as Bakugou got an explosion ready in his hand, ready to fire. As the teacher would have just told Bakugou to calm down or he'll get sent to the principal's office again, as this would have tried and affect his chance of getting into UA. Bakugou just snarled, "You lucky the teacher's here, you damn nerd. I'm gonna kill you in a little bit." As the teacher read out who else was going to UA. This person, "Oh, Izuku and Midoriya, you're planning to go to UA as well, I see." As everyone just turned to Izuku with frightened looks in their eyes, as everyone just whispered under their breath, "That villain's going to UA? The way that villain can go to UA, he'll get instantly denied." Most of them laughed, while most of them just laughed under their breath, scared Izuku was going to snap at them. As Bakugou got ear twitched at this, as his explosions went off in his hands, creating a little cloud of dust and moisture, as Bakugou looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. But he started to hold it in more and more, which built up his inner rage. As we skipped to the end of the class, as Izuku was packing up all of his things to get ready to go out, as Bakugou tried to do the same things like the original, but Izuku had something handy with him on the ready, which was his pencil. The moment Bakugou threw an explosion, Izuku instantly grabbed his pencil, chucking it up into the air with flinging his hand with a flick of the wrist. He was able to counteract Bakugou's explosion, sending it back to him twice as the amount, sending Bakugou flying back into the wall, with him creating a giant crater into the wall, leaving Bakugou there unconscious, as most of his lackeys came over to him, trying to help him out, most of them calling him a villain. But Nonetheless, Izuku was trying to be not fazed by it, as Izuku went downstairs to the back end of their school to walk home. As Izuku was walking under the underpass, like the original, as Izuku was stopped by a little sludge, little creature of mud on the floor, as Izuku would have just carried on walking, taking it no mind. But the moment he heard, "Come here, kid, I didn't know that freak was in town, give me your body," as Izuku turned around to see a sludge-like sewage monster coming for him. "What the hell are you?" "I'm gonna take over your body, kid, come on, give me it," the sludge villain would have remarked, saying, "Like hell am I gonna give you my body," as Izuku took a step back, sheathing out his pen, used to use as a full-countered weapon, as the sludge villain would have bolted at Izuku, with Izuku just pulling out of his pen even more, full countering, but it didn't work. Izuku would have realized that and remembered his fight with Mirako, telling her that he can't use full counter in fights like this, with Izuku remembering, as Izuku would have had no choice but to use his black flames, but he was really hesitant of using it because it reminded him of his dead father or deceased father, as Izuku got ready to throw a flame of black fire at the sludge villain, as Izuku heard, "Ha ha ha, I am here, Texas Smash!" All the imaginary person shouted, as Izuku turned around and said, "Uncle Mike!" Izuku said, and knocked off his feet in the gust of wind which was his fist, as All Might would have saw it was his nephew, quote unquote, as All Might would have walked over to Izuku, helping him to his feet. "You alright, Izuku? I'm sorry for knocking you back that far," All Might said, rubbing the back of his head. "It's alright, Uncle Toshi. I just got knocked back, that's all, because of the surprise." "So, what are you planning to do today?" "Well, I was planning to actually go to finish off some shopping that Nezu-san gave me to, get some groceries," Izuku said. "That's cool. You want me to help you then? If you wouldn't mind, but I think you need to get back down to your skinny form or people will get suspicious and start crowding you, Uncle Might." Oh yeah, as All Might buffed down back to his skinny form as they went to the shop that day to pick up some stuff for Nezu's bake sale, he would like to say, because of the festival that they normally do every single year. If you guys have seen Season 4, Episode 25 or 26, they do a little sports festival for all of the year groups. As All Might buffed back up to his All Might form, as he handed in the sludge villain to the police. Once after that, All Might and Izuku both flew off to UA, so he could give Nezu the food. The moment they arrived, however, Izuku saw a blue-haired girl that looked familiar to him, as Izuku walked over to her, saying, "Nejiri?" Izuku said, as this blue-haired girl looked behind her to see the lovable green fluffy-haired boy that she saw when she was only in junior high again. As the moment she saw him, she cuddled him like a little teddy bear, as her cleavage went into Izuku's face without her realizing. As Nejire was starting a conversation, as All Might intervened, saying, "Young Midori, I think we need to go deliver these to Nezu before you two start getting flirty again." As All Might would have said this, Izuku would have just smiled and nervously said, "Okay, All Might, let's go," as Izuku walked really stirred and fluffed out of his mind, as Nejire would have put a suggestion in, "Can I come with you guys too?" she said in a very innocent, cheerful tone. Yeah, sure, Nejire-san," Izuku said, stuttering on his words. As Izuku, All Might, and Nejire both arrived at Nezu's office, as All Might knocked on the door 3 times to signal that it was him. As All Might and Izuku both walked in, with Nejire just standing outside of the door to wait, as Nezu would have thanked them both and told Izuku that he could actually go off recommendation or just come in straight away. "You're a really promising student, Izuku. We don't want to lose that." As Izuku replied, saying, I know that, Mr. Nezu, but I'd rather take the exam like everyone else, because I feel like it'd be unfair if I just come straight in. You'll feel like I'll be taking a place of someone that would probably earn it." as Nejire would have just walked in saying that, Izuku, you deserve it a lot more than what they do. You're a really good hero, and you should be here, Nejire would have remarked. But I feel like it would be, no, shut up, Izuku. You deserve it more than what they do, she said in a very pouting face, which Izuku couldn't resist to say yes to. And now this begins our 10 months of training. With Izuku's training regimen, I would probably stay around about probably just going to the gym, lifting lots of weight and trying to get buff, I would try and say. As for Izuku's training with his fire quirk, I would probably say Gran Torino and a bunch of other fire heroes like Endeavor would probably try and help Izuku to try and control his fire side of the aspect of his quirk. Every single time Izuku would lose control, Eraserhead would be there to try and erase Izuku's quirk in time so he didn't destroy much of the model city. And also, through those 10 months, Izuku would have tried to get a job, but most of the people there would have denied him because of his quirk being really villainous. For some reason, their society's fucked that way. As Izuku was about to give up on all hope, he decided to take a job up at a random bar in the area, like a pub, as some British people would say it. As Izuku went into the shop, as the man saw his muscle build, he looked like he had good posture, as the man just called Izuku over, asking him how old he was. Izuku replied he was 15, but to the man he looked like he was about 18, 19, so without hesitation, the man hired him. A couple of days later, Izuku received a little envelope in the mail from the actual pub, or bar as Americans would say it. As Izuku would have just sat there and read it, it's saying that he's been accepted into this job, all of his stuff will be at the workplace tomorrow. I thank you for your applying for this job, Izuku Midoriya, and have a pleasant day. As Izuku just smiled and just let a tear roll down his face, as Inko came into the room asking him what was wrong, as Izuku would just reply just saying that he finally got a job at a pub. Most of the jobs that he has been to for his job searching, let's say that I might have confused my words there, as Izuku finally would have got accepted into a job. With Inko being really happy for her son, she would have just hugged him and said, I'm so proud of you, Izuku. As Izuku told her that he's going to be working tomorrow, as Izuku would have got a long night's sleep. As when he woke up the next day, he instantly grabbed his stuff and went out the front door, him being greeted by Inko saying goodbye to him like usual. As Izuku arrived at his workspace, being introduced to everyone there, and being trained on how to use all the materials and everything and like that and so on. As Izuku went out that day, as Izuku would have arrived at Yue's front gates for his daily training, as Nezu for some reason was standing there talking to All Might, as Nezu would have just said to him that Izuku's training is going to be postponed until later today, because of some certain circumstances that they have to go through in the media. For some reason, people are leaking or falsely accusing us of abusing our students too hard. Izuku walked to them, asking them what was wrong, as they would have given Izuku the rundown, giving Izuku to tell him he's got the day off today to do what he wants. As Izuku would have just called Nejire and asked her if they want to hang out for the day, as Nejire Giddy would have said yes. As Izuku and Nejire would have gone out that day with some people staring at them, with the men staring at him in jealousy. As Izuku and Nejire would have hung out through that entire day, with Izuku being more fidgety, the same with Nejire. As Nejire would have just curled up to Izuku, falling asleep on him when they were on the bus going home. Izuku didn't realize it, but Izuku was starting to blush like a red storm, seeing down her shirt, seeing her cleavage. Izuku looking away with a red blush on his face. She's adorable, Izuku said in a whispering tone. I might ask her out, Izuku said mentally. As Izuku was still thinking about this, as we cut to the end of the 10 months of training area, you got skamazed, as Izuku would have just got to the front gates of UA, thinking about what he's going to do in the entrance exam. As Izuku was walking in, he tripped like usual because he was still nervous. as Izuku fell, almost landing on his face, him being stopped by a brown-haired girl. As Izuku turned around, seeing that this girl had rosy cheeks and little suction cups on her fingers that looked pink, as Izuku would have just thanked her and walked in. No, this isn't a rocket ship, don't you guys worry, as Izuku walked in and sat next to, well, Bakugou, you may be asked. Since through the training, Bakugou's mind has opened slowly and slowly to the thought of Izuku being a rival, but Bakugou, being the arrogant prick he is, he probably wouldn't still think this, as Bakugou would have just snarled at Izuku, but still wishing him luck in the entrance exam, cause he knew Izuku had a quirk in this timeline. As Izuku arrived at the gates, if you're wondering what he got on the written test, he got second place because, well, Nezu taught him. As Izuku was getting ready to start, as he was stretching all of his ligaments so he can get ready to run, as Prison Mike was shouting, 3, 2, 1, go, as most of the students was running out, but Izuku just stood there getting ready. As the moment Izuku saw everyone out of the gates, he used a little tiny bit of his flames and rushed forward. In this timeline, Izuku still has control, it's just minimum. As Izuku charged that up and threw a fireball at most of the 3-pointers, he managed to get 5 3-pointers with 1 fire blast. As Izuku's stamina was starting to drain him, as we cut to the 0-pointer, Izuku managed to get over around about, I'll say 80 points. I would say that. As Izuku was getting ready, as Izuku sat there trying to get the rest of his stamina back, as Izuku heard a rumbling under his feet like it was some form of earthquake, as Izuku looked behind him to see a hulking behemoth, as Izuku was ready to run until he heard her scream, "Help me!" this girl said, as Izuku, without hesitating, would have probably run in. And as the moment the big behemoth tried to throw a punch, Izuku pulled out his dagger that one of the SWAT heroes would have made for him, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Full counter!" Izuku shouted, as Izuku would have just thrown back the punch that the 0-pointer threw at him, sending it back 3 times the force, as the 0-pointer's head would have blown off, same with his left arm, this being falling back. As Izuku would have just helped the girl out and helped her up, with the girl thanking Izuku for all his help, as Izuku around this time would have actually gone straight to work, as he would have arrived back home that day, seeing his letter straight away on the desk. Just remember, Izuku's actually Nezu and All Might's quote-unquote nephew, so in retrospect, he will get it early. As Izuku would have opened it, as this is where we're going to leave it off. 16 minutes, god damn, or probably 17. I managed to get 11 minutes done on part 2 of the recording. As for you guys who are watching this on the premiere and managed to stay this long into the video, I won't be doing 3 videos a week. The only reason why I did this many videos a week is because I actually had a week off doing college work. And also, if you guys would like more videos like this in the future, when I have actually free time, try and just endure it, I would guess. Because my schedule for my college work and my actual work I do outside of YouTube and everything, it really gets to you, dude. Because you have to like set a schedule, you have to record, upload, it starts to get to you half the time. So I hope you guys enjoy and see you all later. Peace out.